Hey, Ray and Ben here from Three Guys.
We're super excited to give you part one of our series that covers our 3-day trip that took us around the island of Oahu.
Hope you enjoy.
I love you.
Tell me what y'all are doing.
Walking around Oahu, 130 miles, takes about 3 days.
Midnight on Thursday night.
My wife warned me about the clothes we're gonna be wearing because I'd be on like social media.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. Sweet. Here we go. Bye. That doesn't look like beer. It's sweet tea with head. You know? So good when it hits the lips. Light
How are
beer,
we
you
on
know?
we like in the frame pretty good?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like.
That's sick.
Okay, so when did the idea first start, and like kind of why to walk around the island of Oahu?
Kind of started way before we did it. We just kind of do ridiculous things from time to time. It usually involves myself and Ben. We ran to Honolulu one day. It was like 24 miles at a rock run there for lava flows. We did something else random, didn't we? The 48 hours, 48 miles. What else?
Yeah, well, I think that one of our buddies biked 100 miles. And that's where I think it kind of started, because you said, well, we should rock run 100 miles. And we were like throwing that idea back and forth. 100 miles is like a decent portion of the border of the island. And then I think you went to work and asked Joe about it, right?
Yeah, I went to you and I was like, hey, we're gonna do basically up to the North Shore, up the east side, and then down, hugging the ridge on the way back. And you're like, why would we just do the whole island? And I'm like, that's 130 miles. And you're like, yeah, so let's do 130 miles. Why wouldn't we do the whole thing? So we kind of went from there, and around that same time, my grandfather passed, and we were like, I kind of kept that to myself. But behind the scenes, I was kind of doing a fundraiser. Two birds, one stone. If we're gonna do something ridiculous, let's just do it for a good cause too. So we started a fundraiser via pledgeit.org. They were the website that I used, and then basically from there, a bunch of people pledged per mile. I advertised it as 130 miles. Some people, $1 a mile or whatever, 50 cents. Pledged for that, and then our goal was 5,000. I mean, crushing that, going upwards of $6,500 by the time we started the day of. That's kind of where we started, and we did a lot of painstaking planning over between all three of us for the logistics of it all, the route that we were going to take, the checkpoints we were going to use, how we were going to support logistically, all those things. And that took a while. It took us probably a month to get that all hammered
Yeah,
away.
we talked about it, and then I had like a 24-hour period where I just stay at work. And a lot of times, middle of the night, not a lot going on. So I like put together this like Excel spreadsheet that basically, like, from coordinating with them a little bit, I just basically put everything that I could possibly think of that we would need to make it happen. Everywhere from like, water, stuff to eat, stuff to snack on while we're walking, stuff to eat while we're like taking breaks. And then we started thinking about what's the best way to be able to like logistically support it. And we jumped around between renting out like motor homes and like those like souped up vans with like beds in them. And we ended up just going with renting an Enterprise, what's it called? Cargo van, yeah. Basically like a 15-passenger van with everything torn out of it. And that ended up being great. And then me and John sat down on, what's the app called? All Trails?
All Trails, yeah.
And just basically like made the route one checkpoint at a time. And we started by like, we should do 6 miles or 7 miles or 10 miles, take a break. And then we started to kind of tie those breaks into like beaches, like decent like a hangout spot basically, so that we would kind of tie in going around the island with getting to see cool stuff, which during the daytime was great, but half of it was at night also, so we kind of missed out on some of the sites. Yeah, I've got June 19th is when I like have a picture. I was just trying to pull this up on my phone. June 19th is when I like put together the route with what we had previously worked on. So it probably had been in the works a few weeks before that.
How did you know that you were going to prep for it the right way, or did you know at all?
I mean, I didn't do any prep for it, like physically. I don't think any of us did any prep for it. It was more like, hey, do you want to do this thing? Like, yeah. I'm like, all right, so let's break it up like by day. We're trying to do it in 3 days. It's 40 miles a day. And what we typically do is between like 10 to 15, maybe on a given like actual hike with weight. So we figured if there's lightweight, we have all day to do it. We can probably knock out 40 miles a day. And, you know, you hear stories of ultra marathon runners and people running 240 miles in a few days. I was like, if they can do that, we could walk 130 in 3 days.
And we had a van. I bought new socks just in case I have some good socks. I was like, we got a van, we're not carrying anything other than water. We can walk 40 miles in a day.
Yeah, 100%. And we were being conservative about it, and Joe was like, no, like, we'll walk 80 miles every day. It's fine. We'll get it done in 2 days. Because we're trying to figure out, hey, is it going to be like 3 days, 4 days? What's our goal going to be here? We talked to our boss, like, hey, we want to take a long weekend. Take like this Friday off. And he's like, yeah, no problem, do it. It's for a good cause. But we knew we had to be back to work Monday. So I was like, all right, we got 3 days to do it. Let's knock it out. And we ended up knocking out in 70 hours, right?
70 hours.
70 hours, yeah.
So, like, we did the ruck down to Honolulu, and that was sort of the type of thing where the night before we were, I believe we had a Tornado Tuesday on, say Thursday or Friday.
You want to talk
Friday.
about what that is?
Tornado Tuesday on Friday, I believe. That's a whole other thing. Tornado Tuesdays came in to be long before I knew John. But I had done something similar. But it's basically, you can't decide where you're going to go have dinner. So you go to like as many restaurants as possible, and the people that you're with, you just like buy an appetizer, buy an entree, buy like an entree at each place, an appetizer at each place, and you just like share that food, and then you just get to go to like 10 different restaurants. That's what Tornado Tuesday is. Anyhow, completely off topic. We were in the middle of a Tornado Tuesday on a Friday, I believe, because I'm sure we didn't do it except on a weekend. And we were just like, I don't know, just like thinking of things to do the next day, and somehow putting a pack on and running a marathon down to Honolulu to get a drink called a lava flow from a place called the Halikoa seemed like the best idea. So with that said, like our training for things is generally not real well thought out, and that's exactly what happened for this one. Me and my fiance now, we like had signed up for a triathlon or an Ironman, and that is something that I trained for about a month until we found out that it got canceled. So that was about the extent of my long distance training, was a few months prior to us doing this.
Yeah. I think we're all going a little stir crazy too with the whole COVID business. We were sick of just like doing push-ups in our backyard, and we wanted to get out and do something different. And we just had way too much time on our hands, and so we thought of something ridiculous to do.
So yeah, I wasn't really part of any of the previous to only doing this hike. I didn't do the Tornado Tuesday. I'm old, I'm like 37, married. I'm not part of any of that stuff. But yeah, like it was brought up to me as exactly what John said. Like it'd be a cool, go up to North Shore and then come down the center line. And I was like, man, if you're gonna do it, you might as well just do the whole island. It'd be super badass that you've done the whole island. It's only another 30 miles, which isn't that much. And that was kind of like when I was brought on board. I'm always looking to do something that's like kind of crazy though. And I'm always like looking for people to do it with, and I can never find people to do it with. So when they came to me and were like, we're gonna walk around the perimeter of the island, I was like, I'm there, done. Sign me up right now. I had like no qualms about it. It was awesome. So yeah, it was like after the majority, I think, of the planning, and like the idea had kind of formed, and then I came on board.
We ran
So I've got
to ground it a few different times, right? As far as like when our start time was gonna be.
Yeah.
So like I know for
start
like Ben, it actually started like 24 hours.
Yeah, so I just found this information as we were like pulling stuff back up and like getting all the videos and pictures together to put this together. Was I found an email because I was looking through my emails to try and find my like planning paperwork that I had put together, and I found a different email that I had sent to a guy I work with to try and lock on like training for my Marines, and it was like all of the logistical support for a hike. So Thursday morning at like 02, I woke up, drove in on base, made sure like the safety vic was being drawn and the ice chest was good, and we started our hike at like 3:30 in the morning on Thursday. And that's the day that then later on the day we went and we were at a different training area doing urban stuff, but that day basically bled all the way into like the van being rented by, who ended up getting it? Micah, or did you?
Because you're talking about a platoon hike, right? Like with your guys.
Yeah, so we did like, I don't even remember, 6-9 miles, with probably, I don't know, 70 pounds. This is a while ago. I don't really remember. But that's like, my day started at 03, and I completely forgot about that until I was trying to look this stuff up. But then like we rented the van, and then we started the actual 130 miles. I just had a little bit of a head start with a early morning and a couple miles in already.
Yeah, talk about the start.
Trying to find it.
We talked about a few different timelines as far as like, hey, when do we want to start this thing? How long it's going to take? We want to start walking during the nighttime or not? Because it was the middle of summer in Hawaii, and it's not cool by any means. As soon as it hits like noon, it's excruciating. It's we're walking along the coastline.
Humidity and like
super humid.
95 to 98 degrees.
Yeah, so we're walking the coastline most of the way, which is good because you have that nice island breeze. But we started. Ben and I got some things ready. Joe, big logistics guy, locked us on some coolers, big coolers, some water jugs, things like that. Got that all prepped the night before. Yeah. I think Micah, Ben's girlfriend at the time, fiance now. Out of the goodness of her heart and her love for Ben, volunteered, voluntold. We asked, and she said yes to help us run this whole thing. So she got the vehicle. I'm pretty sure she's shopping for all of us too, and she dedicated 3 days to literally just support us, drive around in a van alone, except for the 20 minutes we spent with her, 5 talking, 15 sleeping, and then she would just drive from place to place alone every day.
And this is like, it was like finals week for her MBA program that she was in. So it wasn't like she didn't have a lot going on. She was like starting a new job, was finishing up her MBA. It was like finals week. She had like papers and projects due. And she was like driving this van that was like probably not easy to drive, 6-10 miles ahead of us. Then she would, get stuff set up for us. She'd sit down, work on our paper, and then we would show up and like probably be mad at her because it's not perfect or whatever, and we're just irritable. And then we left and went to the next place. And yeah. Oh, and she got sick like the day before we started. So this is all
she got
like,
really sick.
She like felt awful, which I don't know how she did it. She probably like was more miserable and tired than we were. Well, I don't know, maybe not. So June 26th, I've got the Garmin app, so I have a screenshot of our first 16 miles, which is the first leg of it. That was the first checkpoint. But we stepped off at 12:14 a.m. on June 26th. And yeah, like Joe came over, we kind of finished loading everything up. Had a couple extra bites of food, and then we stepped off on the 26th.
Yeah, 42 miles.
Easy day.
Easy day. You think what?
Y'all are probably gonna get more than 42.
You think so?
Yeah.
50 would be nice because it's a huge number.
Yeah.
The Waimea Bay is
We
really.
go all the way to Cayenne Point today.
Oh my god, dude. You like 67 miles. I guess at 42 miles, if you feel froggy, I'm feeling good. But oh, it's only 2 o'clock and I can't sleep for 4 more hours? Just keep walking.
Yeah, it's the minute tire. It's professional tire.
Oh yeah, because that's like what you're supposed to